Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Agency Side Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Levinson. And today I'm here with Stephanie Spicer, president of Luquire, a proudly independent agency that's been shaping brands since 1984. Stephanie spent over a decade helping lead the agency's growth and creative vision, guiding both B2B and B2C brands to success. We'll dig into her path to the president's seat, her leadership style, and how they stay competitive in the changing industry. Thanks so much for being here today, Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, just to get into it, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you guys do for the folks that might not be familiar with your agency.
Yeah, so we are a full service agency, meaning we do everything from marketing strategy and brand strategy, really helping people figure out how you execute across paid, earned, owned marketing channels. And we're strategy first, meaning that we look at your business objectives and we help you understand what is the right thing to do for your business the most effective and efficient way possible.
Awesome. Cool. And in terms of like how you got into the industry, maybe you can give us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So actually, sadly, I actually hate admitting this. I did not want to go into advertising. I wanted to go into management consulting, which
Mm.
you look at the headlines today, I'm actually super glad that I didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was hardcore into management consulting. Unfortunately, I was not hardcore into studying in school. And so my grades were not quite good enough. And at my senior year, I took a class, an advertising class, and I fell in love with it. I loved
Mm.
the way you really have to understand what makes people tick, how you have to understand the best way to influence them. And it felt like a great combination of business and creativity. And I went and I got a job in New York, which was fun and exciting and crazy at the same time. And here I am 20 plus years later. I won't say exactly how many the plus is. You just have to know that it's 20 plus.
Cool. And so you went to New York. Were you from North Carolina first, or where did you come from?
I grew up in Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So moved to New York because everyone was like, if you want to be in advertising, that's where you have to go. Because I think back then, again, 20 plus years ago, the pool was a little bit more focused on holdco agencies. It was less independent focused than it is today. And so that's really where you had to kind of cut your teeth.
Yeah. And what was your entrance into the industry? Like, what was your gig?
So I started actually at the Ad Council. Have you heard of the Ad Council?
I'm not familiar, actually.
So they partner, it's a nonprofit organization that partners with agencies. So you've heard of like Smokey the Bear
Yeah.
or Friends Don't Let Freds Drive Drunk, like those campaigns from the 60s. They partner with nonprofits and with the big Madison Avenue holdco agencies to come up with nonprofit campaigns that kind of go out to the world with donated media. So I started there. I did that for about a year and it was great, right? You're doing working on a good cause. But at the same time, I also got to see how a bunch of different agencies worked. I partnered with like 6 or 7 agencies in my time there. So I was able to get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain and see what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
But then I moved over agency side. I went to Conan Building, which I think right now is FCB. It's changed 100 times since then. And my first real account there was Oreo, which was a great place to start.
That's awesome. Um, and so you have some really like big agency experience too. You saw that you worked at Gray as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like great for the majority of my time in New York.
Oh, awesome. Um, cool. And so you've always been on the account side. I guess what drew you to that side of things? Do you kind of see yourself as like a relationship driven person, or
So it's actually funny. When I got to Luquire, I was here for about 3 years and I started the strategy team. So I actually started our strategy practice. I actually should have gone into account planning or whatever you want to call it. Different agencies call it different things. And I went to do that about 3 or 4 years into my tenure at the agency side. And they were like, yeah, you have to start from the beginning. And I was
Mm,
like, excuse me, what? They're like, yeah, you have to go back to making $30,000 a year in New York City. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. What I really get passionate about in the industry is it's the strategy. It's understanding people. It's understanding what makes them tick. It's understanding what's the right thing to do. You could do 100 things, 1,000 things. What's the right thing to do?
yeah.
So while I was account management, my passion, I was the nerd it was when I was in AAE digging through the 100-page research decks and finding like the one stat that was going to change the business. Like that was what I was passionate about. And so When I came down to Luquire, it's a smaller agency, so it was a lot more flexible, and I was able to start a strategy team, and now we have 3 people on that strategy team. It's nice to see it have grown and changed, but yeah, no, my passion is really about the business, the connectivity of business and creativity.
Yeah. What's been your strategy in building your strategic team?
Well, strategy from, like, a hiring standpoint
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, putting people together, yeah.
smart, passionate. Those are the 2 things that and kind, right?
Yeah,
We've got some Southern roots, so you gotta be smart, passionate, and kind.
that's awesome. You guys work in, like, a remote setup, or you guys come into an office, or how does that look?
We are remote first. So Luquire has been based in Charlotte its entire 41-year history. But what we found is that Charlotte is not a hotbed of marketing talent. So really easy to get certain roles because there are plenty of people here doing marketing, but other roles like creative, media, analytics, some of those are harder to find in the Charlotte market. And so when
Yeah.
the pandemic hit, everybody scattered, really started hiring then outside of the Charlotte market and realized it works. It works really well. And so we were able to broaden where we were looking for talent. And now it really is about hiring the best possible person for the role and for the culture of the agency, which has been such a godsend. So we don't call it an office because we don't want anyone to think that they have to come into it, but we call it a den. We do have a location here in Charlotte that people can come into when they're in town. I probably go in like once a week, but 2/3 of our talent base is here in Charlotte. Everyone else is everywhere from California to Florida to New Hampshire. So we're spread out quite a bit.
That's cool. And do you, leverage freelance talent, or are you sort of, full-time people out there too?
Primarily full time. We will
Wow,
tap into
cool.
freelancers occasionally, but we try to do it as little as possible. Our culture is our secret sauce, right? I mean, I think we're not the only agency to say that, and that's harder to do when you have a big freelance team.
Yeah. That's really cool. I love the model that you folks have. I mean, it's just, it's kinda like the new thing, the new agency model. When the pandemic happened, everybody sort of they scattered, but then it was an opportunity because, yeah, you can,
Right.
meet people from all over the world who can bring a lot of different things to the table, which is really cool. Awesome. Maybe, I'd be curious to learn some more about, some of the exciting campaigns and stuff you guys have been working on. And also was not to change the subject again, but I just want to mention that I had seen on your site that while we're talking about building a team, that 2024 in Adweek, you were the fastest growing agency, also number 23 on the top women led agencies, and number 17 mid-sized agencies. So that's a lot of kudos. Seems like you guys are doing
Yeah.
the right things over there.
Yeah, it was amazing to be recognized for that because, yeah, there was a big, shift in our strategy and how we think about ourselves as an agency. How do we go to market as an agency? And there's been a lot of change over the past few years. We're a 41-year-old agency, but in a lot of ways, we acted like a startup starting in 2020, 2021. A lot of things were different. And it's been incredible. And that award was just a nice recognition for the work that the team has accomplished.
Yeah, great job. And yeah, I'd love to be very interested in some campaigns that maybe have excited you the most over your tenure.
Yeah, well, one of my favorites is actually the Visit North Carolina campaign. I don't know if you read anything about it on the site, but actually just won our first it was the first time we applied, but it was also the first time we won Effie Award, which are you familiar with
I
Effie's?
am. Yeah, congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, listen, I told you I'm all about business and creativity, and Effie is, right, the ultimate mark of something that's effective.
Yeah.
And so to me, it was just and we knew that. So that's work that we've done for Visit North Carolina. We've worked with them for, gosh, close to 15 years at this point. But I'm so proud of the work because it took something that was inherently true about the state, but also inherently different about the state, and then married it with something that consumers actually want. And that's a hard thing to do, especially when you think about a state. There's so many different places that you can visit. There's so many different attractions, types of trips that you can take.
Yeah.
So really pulling that together with one strategy and ultimately one campaign, which is called For Real Visit North Carolina. It's all about authenticity. Have you been to North Carolina before?
I have. I haven't spent too much time there, but I looked at going to college at UNC. I didn't end
Uh,
up going there, but I went there with my family and I enjoyed it. It's a beautiful place.
It's very beautiful. And I think what's so different about it You compare our cities to a New York City or a Miami, or you compare our beaches to a Myrtle Beach, or you compare our mountains to a Gatlinburg. We're very authentic is the right word.
Yeah,
And in a time when things are going towards AI and they're going towards deep fakes and their authenticity is something that people are craving.
totally.
And so it was so natural for us to lean into it. And the campaign, the performance of the campaign, we got a 310 to 1 ROI.
Wow.
And I was just, for me, that's so meaningful to because essentially what we're doing is we're driving tax revenue for the state. Right. So that means that we can invest those funds in other things. So it's just really, really nice because it's an effective marketing campaign. It plays into what people really want, but then also it does ultimately does good for the state as well. So it's a
Yeah.
win on every front.
Yeah. No, I totally can see that. Yeah. When you're really passionate about something that's doing good and it's
Yeah.
so much better and you get an award at the end. That's amazing.
It's so much fun.
How does it, maybe just for folks who don't know, or actually I'm not really sure, how does the process go with applying to get the award, or how does the whole thing work?
The Effie Award.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. This episode is brought to you by Coming Up Creative, a relationship first boutique creative recruitment agency. We disrupt the creative ecosystem by running sophisticated, multi channel campaigns with custom video and voice outreach that actually gets responses. We actively market the agencies and brands we represent to help them stand out to today's industry's top talent, all backed by real human connection and AI powered targeting. If you're ready for a modern recruitment approach, visit www.comingupllc.com and get started today.
Yeah. So there's a reason that we have not applied before. It is a long application
Mm,
process. I don't even remember how many pages the final submission was, but pages and pages and pages. And essentially, because it's about effectiveness, you need to be able to state the metrics that you started out trying to achieve, ultimately how you achieved them. They want to see it multiple different ways. So it's nothing that you could fake if you wanted to.
yeah.
And then, I mean, we were up against some of the biggest brands in the world. So it was
Wow.
exciting to kind of see the winners list and to kind of go down and say, huge brand, huge brand, huge brand. Visit North Carolina, huge brand, huge brand.
That's amazing.
That makes
That's
you
really
feel really
cool.
good. But yeah, it was a labor of love for the team to even put the submission together.
That's cool. Um, I forget, is Effie Awards do you go to the ceremony, or is it sort of just like a virtual announcement?
No, there is a ceremony. He did not go ultimately because there's so many people that touched the account. I mean, we have like
Mm,
30 people internally that touched it. And then obviously there's a ton on the client side as well. And so we decided instead to hold a joint celebration here in Charlotte.
that's cool. That's a collaborative, you guys all put your hands in it, and instead of just sending one person as a rep, you guys celebrate at
Right.
home. That's cool.
Well, and you said the magic word, right? Collaborative. Like none of these things happen in a vacuum. Not a single person can do all of the things. And what the project manager is just as important does is just as important as what the creative does is just as important as what the client does. Like we all have to be. So yeah, exactly that. It was like, I'm not
Yeah,
going to send 2 or 3 people to New York when so many people were, the masterminds behind this.
I love it. Are there a lot of agency events that you like to go to? Do you travel and go to different things?
I do try to go to conferences. There's a handful throughout the year that I think are important. Really, for me, it's about learning.
Yeah,
This industry is changing so fast, it's not even funny,
yeah,
right? It's changing from a big picture standpoint, but it's also changing within disciplines and within channels. And so if you don't stay on the pulse of what's changing, you are so screwed.
yeah,
So
100%.
I try to go to a few of them every year.
Yeah. Are there any particular that you like that you think would be beneficial for people in the agency world to attend?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some good luck at Mirren. I've learned a lot of great stuff at that conference every year. We typically go to the small agency awards as well, just to understand kind of what other competitors in our space are doing and playing against. I have not gone to South by Southwest yet or can or anything that is broader like that. I would like to. It's
Yeah.
just sometimes hard to get away from all of them.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them. I'm always curious because I've been looking to attend more events this year. I have 2 little kids, so attending events is a challenge, and it's a bargaining it's an agreement I have to a negotiation I have to take place in to see if, but we are thinking about getting a family van where we can all travel together to some of these events. So we'll
That'd
see.
be cool. How old are your kids?
I have a 6.5-year-old and a 3-year-old, two
Okay.
girls. So they keep us pretty busy,
On
but
your toes.
I think they probably would both be better marketers for the company than I would be. Maybe they'd be our number one lead generation tools to bring them to events.
That's
So,
right. That's
but I
right.
was
You
thinking,
throw a puppy in there, you'll be great.
yeah, right. I was thinking about going to Ad Week in New York. That was something that I know is coming up in October that I haven't attended before. So,
Yeah,
I'm
that's a good
curious.
one. I went to that one last year, though I have to say I was dreadfully ill most of the
Oh,
time I was up
really?
there.
That's not fun to be in New York City and not feeling well.
No, it
Yeah.
was for sure not. But it is a good conference, and they do a ton of different sessions that you could pop into.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm always intrigued by that. Cool. So I guess maybe you could tell us, I know you just told me about how things are changing rapidly in this space and it's hard to keep up with it. And I know, yeah, I'm always seeing all these new tools and new things that are happening and it's pretty wild. Obviously, you've been in the game for a minute at this company. You've been working there for Luquire for almost 13 years. Is that how long you've been there?
I think almost 14.
14 years. That's amazing. So when you, from where you first started there into like what you're seeing now, what is like the tech stack? Is it a lot different? What is it feeling like? Is it kind of feeling like the like dial up to high speed internet, or how's that feeling?
I think that's a good analogy. I think that's a good analogy. I've heard also just desktop publishing in general, going from that to that. Yeah, I mean, and I think the pace of change isn't going to stop. It's only going to get more complex. And so I think the thing that I have to keep in the front of my mind, and that I'm telling the team all the time to keep in the front of their mind, is it's not the shiny objects, right? It's about understanding which of these new tools has the potential to really move the business.
Mm,
Also, get in there and play around, because I think until it's hard to even understand what some of these tools can do until you start actually playing with them. But I think the difference between where the tech stack was 2 years ago to today is night and day. I think in another 2 years, it's going to be night and day all over again. Here's the good news: our clients are even more bewildered by what's happening than we are, right? Because they've got their own set of priorities and their own, all they're hearing is from the top. You need to be using AI, you need to be using AI, but they don't know where to start either.
yeah.
And so we have to work with them. We have to partner with them to help them understand what are the right tools for them and to bring them along in the journey. So we're all in it together,
Yeah. Are
right?
there any tools in particular that you found have been a real like return on investment for your company, whether it's like a creative tool or a collaborative tool or anything of that sort?
I mean, honestly, for us LLMs, just ChatGPT has
Yeah.
been, and yes, there's a ton of different interfaces that you can put on top, and different companies are packaging it different ways, but there's not really any LLM understanding how to use it, understanding how not to use it. That is going to be the game changer. It's the
Yeah.
humanity, right? It's the ability to understand what's good and what's not good. It's like it's
Yeah.
going to return stuff to you all day long. You've got to be able to really parse through what's crap
Yeah.
and what's going to be usable.
Yeah. It's getting pretty wild.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like you said, there's always like a new shiny object that they're saying that, oh, this is the key, and you can spend all day, all week, all month trying it, learning it, and then finding you might not get the return on it. And
Right.
then you could have done all these other things. Yeah, it's kind of noisy. I'm a musician, obviously. That's something I'm always interested in. And I was playing with Suno recently. I don't know if you're familiar with that
Mm-mm.
AI tool, but it's pretty wild. It's like and I've for some folks who might have been playing it with for a while, I don't want to feel like I'm just like discovering this for the first time. So I know some people have been messing with this probably for a minute, but you can prompt into it and tell it like, you know, you can play something simple on a guitar and be like, I want this to sound in the style of like 60s surf music with like a lead guitar player playing in the second verse. And then I want you to create the bridge. And then I want the ending to be, a fade out, and I want it at this BPM. And I want, a Farfisa organ from 1970, whatever. You know what I mean? You can give it all these prompts and you play it, and it's like, wow. I mean, like, it's pretty amazing. I know this isn't a music related conversation, but,
Well related.
there is an element of like, the human AI than human, which I think seems to
Right.
be like that formula that we hear about all the time. That does seem really interesting because, when you get that, it's pretty incredible. But what inspires me is being able to take that music, then chop up the stems, put them into like Logic or Pro Tools or something, and then adding like another level of your own creative on top of that. So it's like I had an idea, it sped me up, and that, that's sort of like the workflow that I've been kind of experimenting with. And yeah, I mean, if you just let it do its thing, like the guitar solos are really cheesy. It's like you're like,
Yeah.
dude, this is terrible. And it's so formulaic and it's so like it's a lick that you've heard a million times and it doesn't have that like that spark. But if you put your own twist on it, it kind of makes it humanizes it and makes it cool.
Well, without the humanity, to your point, it's cheesy. And I
Yeah.
think if you think of it as another tool, right? Just another tool in your musician toolbox, you can do so much more with it versus if you think of it as like either or. It's either me or it's not.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, what can you do with this now that you're empowered with this?
100%. I even think of it a lot in my copy and outreach. It's like anybody can make a multi-channel campaign and pepper it out to a gazillion people now. I mean, you could easily go to like you can find data scrape, you can use clay, you can use like any sort of list, any sort of you can spackle like the entire planet with whatever you want, but you know, it doesn't like in sales, at least for me, I think copywriting is so important because it has to be human. It has to
Huge.
sound like how you actually sound, like in your
Yeah.
tone. I've definitely written things in AI, sent them to clients, and they've been like, "You didn't really write that, did you?" And I'm like, "Nope, I didn't," because they know how I sound. They know like my abbreviations and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And yes, you can have a fixer AI bot in your email that is going to mimic how you sound, and it'll get close, but we all know like with our friends and our family, like how they, the space in between what they're saying and how they vibe, that's what makes to me music the most inspiring thing because it's like really convincing music has those like natural breaks in it, like just like in our conversation when there's like a spot and you kind of feel that's what makes it human. You can't really like emulate that yet, and I
Right.
think that that's just with all creative. It's like there's still that element that, yeah, and people are yearning for that to be able to be like a human connection.
Right. Right. And they're gonna want it more and more. Our chief creative officer calls, I don't know if you've heard the term sea of sameness, but we've used it forever in advertising to refer to the fact that everything kind of looks the same. He's
Yeah.
calling it the tsunami of sameness, right? Because if everybody is using the same tools and everybody is using the same, we have to. So what happens then when you have that tsunami of sameness is the idea, right? The big idea becomes more important than it has been maybe in the history of ever, because you need
Yeah.
something that's going to stand out from the rest of the schlock. So
Yeah. That's a great tsunami of sameness. I haven't actually heard that before. That's pretty that's spot on.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and it really is going to be because, to your point, anybody can do it. Anybody can put 100,000 ads into the world and paper everything, and everybody is, right? I think a
Yeah.
stat that I saw that people see between 6,000 and 10,000 ads a day.
Yeah.
Like, how are you processing that? So unless your ad has an idea that stands out, right, that connects with the consumer, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So I think the opportunity that it unlocks is for us to return a little bit more to that like big idea thinking that we've abandoned for performance marketing for so long, right? And really, what is the thing that's going to get consumers an attention in the way that you want to get their attention?
Yeah. I love that. How do you guys, I guess, how do you get new business in? How does that sort of funnel work for you? Is it based a lot on kind of the work that you have already put in your
Yeah.
reputation? And obviously you have awards and accolades and things that I'm sure bring clients in inbound naturally. But do you also have a strategy for outbound reach out and to kind of breaking into new territories?
We do some outbound, not a ton, because we find that we tend to have more success by just putting our work into the world in the right places. So there's very
Yeah.
thorough strategies around where we're putting our work and how it goes. We are starting to think a little bit more about outbound. You've heard the term the cobbler's children have no shoes.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
we spend all of our time thinking about how to put our clients' brands into the world. And then we're like, oh, wait, and we've got a brand too. And it's really great. We want to tell our story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is. It's about, um, And this is the same for our clients. You have limited resources. Where can you put your resources? And how can your resources show up in a way that is going to be the most impactful that it possibly can be?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 6,000 to 10,000 ads out there a day
Yeah.
getting in
You
your
get
way.
It's crazy. I guess outside of work, what kind of things do you like to do just personally? Any hobbies or
Yeah. I am obsessed with traveling. I like to go as many places as I possibly can. I also have children though, so that limits how
yeah.
much and how frequently we're able to go places.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's my takes up all of my money, if not all of my time.
Totally. Do you have any like secrets for success in like lifestyle things? Do you enjoy like reading, or are you an avid book reader? Is anything or like yoga or anything cool like that that kind of keeps your sanity outside of the busyness of agency life?
Reading is definitely probably that's my me time. That's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be like, "Oh, I'm constantly reading business books and making myself smarter," but no, I read the same smut that everybody else reads.
Totally.
And then yoga also, to your point, that is I wish I could meditate. That is something that if you have any tricks or tips on how to meditate, I would love
Mm.
to learn how to do that, but I am terrible at it.
I do actually. I do have it. I'm not a I'm a wired pretty tight kind of guy, so I need that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm also really boring, so I don't have other vices to calm me down on the weekends or stuff like that. So I have moved into a little bit of meditation.
Okay.
And I would say the best way to get into it, I use Insight Timer, and I'm not sponsored by this app or anything like that. They
Right,
don't pay
yeah.
me, but it is especially great because there's a lot of free, meditations that they give you. And I like to use them at night, like before going to bed, to just sort of like have
Yes.
them playing in the background. And they're actually really good for children too. So
Okay.
sometimes instead of a bedtime story, like a wind down with the meditation, and sometimes they tell like nice stories of just like, it's an owl in a forest, and it's very safe and kind, and there's beautiful fairies, and like it just kind of like meanders on, but eventually the kids kind of just drift off. But there are good ones too that are just, just kind of like letting go of the day, or kind of like gratitude, or some of the basic affirmations and things. And yeah, I think it can be a little bit helpful to kind of like just let go, because for me, if I don't do that thing, I'm thinking about work all the time. I'm like, oh, if I got this client, oh, there's like this meeting that needs to get scheduled, or like, oh man, like this deal is going south at like 11, and this is when I should be falling asleep, and wow,
Right.
now I'm really upset, and I'm thinking, so I'm always like trying to find a way to like just or even just putting down the phone, because that can
Yes.
be that there's so much tsunami of sameness, or just things that are agitating, you know what I mean, that like whatever it can be, sometimes it feels designed to get you worked up, or to feel like you're missing something, or feel like you're not as good as, or you are like in a more chaotic situation than you actually might be. There's so many different
Yeah.
paths that I think it can take you on the internet. And sometimes I'm like, man, like what did I just do with this? Like I just lost an hour. Like, and I
Right.
didn't create anything. I didn't do anything better. I'm just like a little bit more sweaty and upset about things, and nothing around me is actually wrong, So
Right.
I don't know. That's
Yeah,
my
anxious, stressed, depressed. Yeah, absolutely. So do you
yeah.
meditate every night then?
I have been doing it for like, I don't know, probably since like, I don't know, like I would say like probably right around the pandemic, I think was when it sort of like
Yeah.
anxiety levels kind of rose. And I
Through
was
the
like, I'm
roof.
going to start doing this. And yeah, I mean, pretty much every night I've fallen asleep to some meditation, which is
Okay, I'm gonna try insight.
insight timer. And like, I think the key is like time. And like, if you told me to like sit down and just be quiet and like observe what's around me or something, like, I don't think I'm at that level of meditation. Like, I think I'm like, as far as people who are into meditation, I'm a total fraud. But as far as
Listen, I
just
think we all
like,
have imposter syndrome, so that's fine.
yeah,
You can have it for meditation too. It's great.
but it's like the beginner's entry, and I think that's kind of where I'm gonna to stay. So yeah, I enjoy it. Maybe it could be something that you would enjoy as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'll look into it
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, are there any other things on the horizon for you guys coming up? Any kind of like, obviously there's probably things that you can't talk about, but are there things that you can talk about that are kind of coming up?
I mean, I think, we're just continuing to evolve as it relates to what we're bringing forward to clients, especially when you kind of think about that the gap between what the tools can do and what people can do. And we're really
Yeah,
trying to fill that gap for clients and help them. We use the term navigate the gray,
I like it.
which means just figuring out what's the right way to go. And so we're going to continue to evolve the tools and the offerings that we have in that space to help clients really figure out like what is best and right for where I am right now to get to where I want to go.
I love it. Yeah. So I guess, if folks who are listening want to check you guys out and see some of your work and dig in a little deeper, where can listeners find more information about you?
Yeah. So just go to luquire.com, Luquire, not at all intuitive. It's a French last name. But yeah, our work is there. You can reach out to us at any time. I'd love to
Awesome.
hear from you.
Cool, Stephanie. Well, I really appreciate you being on the pod today and speaking with us and offering some insights to the agency community. Yeah, maybe we can have you back on again in the future for a part 2.
I love it. We could do a little guided meditation together.
Awesome. We'll begin with an insight timer moment of Zen before we lead into our chaotic lives.
You'll have a sponsorship by that point, so it'll be perfect.
Totally. Awesome, Stephanie. Well, have a great rest of your week and I appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin. You too.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.